Over 100 worshippers abducted as bandits attack churches in Kaduna. FCTA workers begin indefinite strike, ground government activities. Federal government rearranged Sowore on 2-count amended charge. Away from Nigeria, 13 school children killed in South Africa minibus collision. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubzala. Now, suspected bandits have struck Kurumenwali community in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, abducting over 100 worshippers during church services on Sunday. The incident occurred in the morning at Ekwa and Cherubim and Seraphim churches while the victims were in worship. Sources said 9 vulnerable persons among the victims later returned home. Confirming the incident, the Northern Can chairman, Reverend Joseph John Hayab, described the attack as sad. He said 2 churches were affected during the attack in the area, adding that although he did not want to speak on the number of people abducted, the situation was troubling, as at the time of filing this report, the Kaduna State government and the police had not issued any official statements on the incident. Now, troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast, Operation Hatinkai OPHK, have recorded major operational successes in the Timbuktu Triangle area of Borno State, clearing several Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorist camps and thwarting coordinated attacks by the insurgents. A latest achievement form part of the ongoing dry season offensive Operation Desert Sanity, aimed at degrading terrorist strongholds and restoring security across the northeast. Military sources disclosed that scores of terrorists were neutralized during the operations, while several others escaped with gunshot wounds as troops overran their enclaves. The Media Information Officer, Headquarters Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hatinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, confirmed the developments in a statement issued on Monday. According to him, troops advanced from their harbor areas on Sunday, January 18, 2026, to conduct deliberate intelligence-led clearance operations across identified terrorist hideouts. He said the operation was effectively supported by the air component of OPHK, which provided sustained intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance coverage, enabling real-time tracking of terrorist movements, deterring reinforcement, and enhancing the precision of ground troops. The Nigerian Air Force says over 40 terrorists have been killed in coordinated airstrikes carried out in Azar and Musaram areas of Borno State, foiling planned attacks on civilian communities. Disclosing this in a statement on Sunday, the Nigerian Air Force spokesman, Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, said the precision strikes were conducted on January 15th and 16th. Ejodame stated that the strikes were executed by Nigerian Air Force aircraft operating under the air component of Operation Hatinkai, following credible intelligence on terrorist movements and imminent threats to nearby communities. According to him, further scans revealed terrorist elements attempting to regroup under nearby 3 cover, prompting precise and successive airstrikes that neutralized several of them. On his part, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Anneke, reaffirmed the Nigerian Air Force's commitment to providing timely and decisive air support to ground forces. And now in Kano, the father of the prime suspect arrested over the killing of 7 family members in Urei Chirenchi area of Kano metropolis Malam Awal has called on authorities to swiftly punish his son Umar Awal without delay. Umar, who is currently in police custody, is accused of murdering his aunt Fatima Abubakar and her 6 children in broad daylight on Saturday. The victims include Maimuna, 17, Aisha, 16, Bashir, 13, Abubakar, 10, Farouk, 7, and Abdul Salam, 1.5 years old. Police confirmed that the suspect has confessed to the killings, as well as a recent attack in Tudunyola, where 2 housewives were murdered and their home set ablaze. Speaking in an interview, Malam Awal distanced himself from his son, describing him as, quote, useless to society, and insisting that he should be executed rather than kept in prison. He further alleged that Umar had killed his younger sister some years ago and plucked out her eyes. Meanwhile, the Kano state government has said it will personally lead the prosecution of those responsible for the brutal killing of a married woman and her 6 children in the Urei Chirenchi area of Kano City, an incident that has plunged the state into deep mourning and shock. The government described the killings as a cruel and heartless act that has profoundly shaken residents and constitutes a grave violation of humanity and the rule of law. In a statement issued by the Attorney General of the state and Commissioner for Justice, Abdul Karim Kabiru Maude SAN, the government said Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf had directed that condolences be extended to the victim's family and the people of Kano State. The Kano state government also commended the State Police Command for its swift response and investigation, which led to the arrest of the main suspects linked to the crime. According to the statement, the prompt action by the police demonstrates a commitment of security agencies to fighting crime and restoring public confidence in safety and justice. It added that a special team of lawyers will be constituted to ensure that justice is fully served and that those found guilty are held accountable under the law. Away from Kano State, workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration (FCTA) under the Joint Union Action Congress have commenced an indefinite strike, effectively grounding activities across departments of the FCTA. The action adds to a growing list of labor disputes in the Federal Capital Territory since the appointment of Minister Nyesom Wike in August 2023. Trust TV's Noel Sampson, who is monitoring the strike, reports that the development has raised fresh concerns over staff welfare and labor relations within the FCT. His report.
Since Nyesom Wike assumed office as Minister of the Federal Capital Territory in August 2023, the FCT has witnessed at least 5 major industrial actions involving different categories of workers. Between March and July 2025, primary school teachers under the FCTA Local Education Authority embarked on a strike that lasted over 4 months, disrupting academic activities across the area councils. In the same year, area council workers under the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees shut down council operations for more than 3 months over unpaid salaries and welfare concerns. FCTA and the Federal Capital Development Authority (FCDA) workers also staged a 3-day protest between June 30th and July 2nd, 2025, while resident doctors embarked on a 7-day warning strike in September 2025. The ongoing duration strike marks the first indefinite industrial action in the FCT in 2026. Labor records indicate that most of the strikes since 2023 were triggered by unpaid entitlements, delayed promotions, and the non-implementation of the 17,000 minimum wage. Although several strikes were suspended following ministerial interventions, unions saying agreements were rarely fully implemented, leading to repeated industrial actions. As of mid-January 2026, the FCTA has yet to issue an official response to the latest strike notice, raising concerns about possible disruptions to public services in the nation's capital. However, a visit to the FCTA Secretariat in the Central Area revealed a calm atmosphere with security personnel from different agencies present. Striking workers were seen waiting around the premises, while the main gate of the Secretariat remained shut with no vehicles allowed in or out.
Mass failure of just the concluded CBT exams. We know that we're not done. Things went wrong. The systems were failing. Some you log in and it will tell you no login in details, power failure. And we wrote to them that you need to look into this. But to our greatest dismay, last week Tuesday, the letters were signed and released. 22.5% success rate. That is a no-no for us because we know the problems. We are agitating for overhead that has not been paid. I think I talked about overhead. We are agitating for intimidation of our staff by certain privileged people on top. Let's say I make a mistake as the staff of the FCT. Somebody just brings in a police person to come and arrest me inside the office because he's my boss without following the procedural way of handling grievances in the civil service. We are agitating for tenure elongation that shouldn't be. If it's my time to retire, I should retire and go in peace, not to be retained because it stops others from coming up and so it stunts our growth. So many issues, lack of materials to work with. The joy of being a worker and having job satisfaction is when you are allowed to deliver your work, do it well and with happiness, not to just come and see it because you don't have this, you will not be able to work.
As at time of filing this report, authorities were yet to respond to the demands of the workers, with unions insisting that previous promises have not been translated into concrete action. The latest strike once again places the spotlight on labor relations in the Federal Capital Territory and the growing pressure on authorities to deliver lasting solutions. Well, Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, still in the FCT, local contractors have again staged a peaceful protest at the entrance of the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja over alleged delay in payments for projects executed and commissioned. Under the umbrella of the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria, the protesters are lamenting the delay in the completion and commissioning of projects, accusing the government of constantly shifting its position, As of the time of filing this report, the protesters had blocked the entrance into the Ministry of Finance, chanting songs of solidarity and calling on the minister to settle the alleged debt arrears. The showdown is a continuation of the series of protests last year to demand the payment of all outstanding debts owed by the federal government. According to the contractors, most of the executed and commissioned projects are yet to be paid for. However, President Tinubu had in December 2025 directed that a committee be set up to address the issues.
The Minister of State was about entering and she directed our people to shoot at us when we are gathered here legally demanding for our payment. And the police just shot at us. This is the bullet. This is the bullet. At a peaceful protest. We are harmless. We do not have anything with us. We are just sitting down protesting peacefully, demanding for our money, our payment. Agreements they've entered with us severally, which they've not kept any one of them. And that is why we are gathered here today. All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria. We have tried to meet with her severally. The other day we went to her office. We waited for 5 hours. She was just passing us to and fro without meeting with us to tell us why most of those payments finalized since 31st of December 2025 that none has dropped up till now. And she refused to talk to us up to today. So we are here. We've contributed to the growth of the economy of this country. We are indigenous of this country. We supported the government. But it's unfortunate that it is unfortunate that even when Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu directed them to pay contractors, that up till now they've not paid us.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV, coming up after the break. Federal government rearranged Sowore on 2 counts amended charge. More news when we return. Do stay with us.
Mark your calendar this January for the 23rd Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Nigeria's Fourth Republic. What is working and what is not? Under the distinguished chairmanship of His Excellency Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, CON, former President of the Nigerian Senate. Special guest of honor, His Royal Majesty Oba Rashidi Adeolu Ladoja, the Olubadan of Ibadan. Guest speakers, His Excellency Malam Nasser El-Rufai, former Governor of Kaduna State. Honorable Sunday Dari, former Minister of Youth and Sports and Special Advisor to the President on Public Communications. Honorable Nenna Elendu Ukeje, former member, House of Representatives, Youth and Gender Advocate. Date, 22nd January 2026. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, NAF Conference Center, Kado Expressway, Abuja. It is about power, politics, and the people. You can watch it online, on air, and across all Media Trust platforms. Don't miss out. Attendance is free.
Welcome back from the break. In case you're just joining, this is News Update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. We told you that over 100 worshippers abducted as bandits attack churches in Kaduna. And FCTA workers begin indefinite strike, ground government activities. Now moving on to more stories, the Lagos State government has warned residents to stay away from accident scenes following reports of fuel scooping from a fallen tanker at the Tinkan-Liverpool Bridge area of Apapa. The warning came after a diesel tanker overturned on the bridge Inward Mile 2 early Monday, spilling its content and causing severe traffic disruption along the busy corridor. A Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, confirmed that the tanker was leaking diesel and that emergency respondents were immediately deployed with all relevant agencies placed on alert. Authorities cautioned residents against engaging in dangerous activities around the scene, particularly fuel scooping, while motorists were advised to avoid the axis and use alternative routes. Despite the warning, videos circulating on social media showed residents scooping diesel from the tanker using jerry cans. Now, the federal government has rearranged human rights activist Omoyele Sowore on a 2-count amended charge of alleged cyberstalking against President Bola Tinubu. Sowore pleaded not guilty to the charge, which stems from posts on social media where he allegedly referred to the president as a criminal. At the resumed hearing before the Federal High Court in Abuja, Counsel to the Department of State Services, Akinlolu Kehinde, informed Justice Muhammad Umar that the amended charge removed social media platforms as defendants, leaving Sowore as a sole defendant. While the prosecution expressed readiness to begin trial, Showore's lawyer, Abubakar Marshall, objected, citing the failure to attach witness details and statements as required by law. After arguments from both sides, Justice Muhammad Umar adjourned the case to January 22nd for trial. After the court session, Omoyele Sowore addressed journalists, describing the amended charge as an attempt to intimidate and silence dissent.
If somebody is going to give evidence in a criminal trial, the defendant has a right to in advance have a copy of his own claims. And then he can adequately prepare for the trial. In this case, they didn't know who, they just said we have a witness in court. And the judge laughably said, even if it's an evil spirit, we must know what is coming to say in court. That was how that adjournment was secured. Apart from other things, but this is an active case. A very active and radioactive case. But the interesting part is that, as one of our lawyers said on TV one to another, the president has not complained that he's not a criminal. He didn't complain to anybody. It is busybodies at the DSS who have nothing to do at the time that the country is in need of their intelligence expertise, so-called, that they went around trying to please the president. Maybe they have some money left out there for lawyers, and they just want to find some people to give briefs to.
And now in business, the International Monetary Fund has revised Nigeria's economic growth forecast for 2026, raising it to 4.4% from 4.2% projected in October 2025. The revised outlook was published in the IMF's January 2026 update of the World Economic Outlook and unveiled on Monday. The fund's upgrade to Nigeria's outlook is part of a wider assessment of global economic conditions, which the fund expects to remain relatively stable in the coming years. Overall, the data suggests that Nigeria's improved outlook is consistent with gradual but widespread economic strengthening across the region rather than an isolated revision. Nigeria's revised forecast builds on a period of significant economic adjustment marked by policy reforms and efforts to restore macroeconomic balance. Now, away from Nigeria, a minibus carrying students to school collided with a truck in the south of Johannesburg on Monday, killing 13 pupils, South African police said. It was the latest in a string of deadly crashes in a country whose modern road network is undermined by rampant speeding, reckless driving, and poorly maintained vehicles. The crash happened about 60 kilometers south of Johannesburg. Police said the driver of the minibus appeared to have lost control while attempting to overtake other vehicles. The toll rose to 13 after an injured child died, the Provincial Education Department said in a statement. Several children were also badly hurt. Authorities did not immediately release the ages of the children, but Provincial Education Minister Matome Chiloane said they were from primary schools where pupils are aged from 6 years and also high schools. And now in sports, football governing bodies FIFA and the Confederation of African Football, CAF, have condemned the unacceptable scenes that marred Sunday's Africa Cup of Nations final in Rabat, with CAF pledging to take appropriate action against those found guilty. The AFCON final between host Morocco and Senegal was disrupted late in normal time when the referee awarded Morocco a penalty following a VAR review for a challenge on Brahim Diaz, with the match level at 0-0. In protest, most Senegal players walked off the pitch while clashes broke out in the stands involving some Senegalese fans and Moroccan security personnel. CAF, in a statement issued on Monday, condemned the behavior of some players and officials but stopped short of assigning blame to either team. The body said it is reviewing all available footage and will refer the matter to its disciplinary bodies. FIFA President Gianni Infantino also condemned the incident, describing the scenes as unacceptable. He criticized the decision to leave the pitch and the violence involving supporters. Now, before we go, on a sad note, the chief imam of Ilorin, Sheikh Muhammad Bashir Saliu, has passed away at the age of 75. His death was confirmed on Monday by the cleric's chief secretary, Abdulaziz Arowona, According to him, the respected Islamic scholar died after decades of service to Islam and the Ilorin Emirate. Born in 1915 in Ilorin, Kwara State, Saliu dedicated his life to Islamic scholarship and religious leadership. He became the 12th Chief Imam of the Ilorin Emirate in 1983, a position he held for over 40 years. Meanwhile, the Emir of Ilorin and Chairman, Kwara State Traditional Rulers Council, Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, has expressed deep sadness over the demise of the Chief Imam of Ilorin. And that's a wrap on news update. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. Thank you for watching.